PMU permanent makeup artist and a dynamic educator with over 5 years of hands-on experience and a remarkable track record of conducting over 3,800 procedures. Wow. And beyond her impressive career, to me as a dedicated mom, balancing the roles of a mother of 4 children, a grandmother, unbelievable, to 2, and a wife of 26 years, yes. And her journey in permanent makeup began as a therapeutic outlet, providing purpose and confidence to her clients and students alike. To me, it's an inspiring story includes overcoming childhood trauma, breaking chains, and establishing a thriving PMU studio. She is not just an artist, she's a mentor, inspiring others to find strength and purpose through the transformative power of permanent makeup. Let's give a warm welcome to Miss
We got our derby on last night, didn't we? Yes, we had a good time. I'm here to talk about something that's not talked about enough, I feel like, unless you go to, like PMU Women of Color or something like that. We need to talk about it more because we matter too. So I am speaking on empowering beauty for melanin-rich skin. So what is melanin? Melanin is produced by melanocytes in the skin, hair, eyes, and it determines our skin's hair and eye color, and it also plays a vital role in protecting the skin from UV radiation. It also determines your undertone. There are 2 types of melanin, eumelanin and pheomelanin. Eumelanin is a combination of black and brown. Pheomelanin is a combination of red and yellow. And I took that off of Canva. They're not my people, but as you can see, those are examples. Melanin skin can come in a wide range of colors. Melanin can come from every part of the world, all over the world. There's somebody with melanin-rich skin. So you're definitely going to get it in PMU. The skin is divided into 3 layers, the epidermis, subcutis, and the dermis. The skin is the largest organ on your body. That's why you need to take care of it and hydrate from within. The skin's characteristics varies per client, and especially when you are implanting ink into the skin. Know what you're working on before you start. So I will say that I don't always do a consultation like way before they start. A lot of times I just book the appointment and come, but I do have them, I try to have them upload a picture into my app so I can at least see what I'm working with. I put Fitzpatrick 3 through 6 because in my opinion, melanin starts at Fitzpatrick 3. The first thing I look at is where does my client fall on the Fitzpatrick scale? Are they Fitzpatrick 3, 4, 5, or 6? I pay very close attention to the client's undertones. This will allow me to choose the correct pigment, or do I need to mix the pigment or modify the pigment? The other thing that you need to look for is what type of skin does the client have? Do they have dry skin, oily skin, normal skin, combination skin, or sensitive skin? Usually sensitive skin, it's really hard to tell unless the person is like light like me, because they're usually just to touch, it turns pink. And that actually lets me know that I probably need to change up, my thought process. I have to maybe use a different needle or maybe even like a different pigment for them. The skin will determine what procedure is best for the client. I know everybody in here probably does an array of things, microblading, nano brows, ombre brows. I basically look at the skin and then I make sure that I'm gonna give them the right procedure that is gonna age well over time. I'm always thinking about aging. I want it to look pretty afterwards, of course, but what they're left with is way more important. I get referrals all the time by people sitting at the dinner table because of their healed work, not the fresh work, They're healed results. It could have been healed 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I'm still getting clients from over 5, 6 years ago. Looking at the skin can also determine what needle you're going to use, but it will prevent scarring and discoloration over time and excessive trauma to the skin. What makes melanin skin unique? Melanin skin tends to produce greater amounts of sebum oil. I put this picture here because this client had so much lymph, it was so bad. I didn't even know if I could keep working or not. And I was always told you cannot work on a wet brow. And it's true. If the brow is bleeding really bad, if they have excessive lymph, you're gonna risk pigment migration because you're gonna keep working and you're not gonna see the ink oxidize into the upper layers of the dermis. To minimize the risk, you need to pay very close attention to what you are working on and what you're doing. You could just, wipe the skin. I like to use maybe a cotton round to keep this type of skin dry. A tip for this is if you know the client has very textured skin like this, and you start seeing a lot of lymph, you can get, what do they call, a Ziploc bag, put them in your refrigerator and put water in them. And then when you switch the brow, take a dry cotton round and stick that on there. And then by it being cold, it kind of closes up the pores. It really, really helps you out a lot. And that's just something that I learned from another artist. Artist shared it with me, and it works pretty good. Also, she had a lot of moles and all that inside of the brows, like you see under here. So it made it really tough to work on. And I did switch up my tray in the middle of the procedure. I started off with a 3RL and I ended up using a 7 mag. Just glides a lot easier. You can use it as your paintbrush, but we'll get into that a little bit more into it. Undertones play a vital role in PMU. Melanin skin determines the natural skin and it affects the way it heals. I see a lot of beautiful brows, but what I always notice is the color. The color is always muted. It's always really weird neutral type color. And I just think that sometimes we're not taught color theory, and that's something that I really, really focus on. So you guys need to take a really, really good color theory class, mix colors together, and make sure if you are modifying, you're modifying properly. Because I know a lot of people are scared to modify, but I do a lot of my modifying, even if the pigment line says, oh, you could just use them, by themselves. No two people are the same. So you have to go by what you're working on at the time. It's essential to choose pigments with colors that are formulated for darker skin tones, including Fits 3. I've done a lot of Fits 3 clients, and I could give, I was told you couldn't give a Fits 3 client blondish brown brows. It's bull. You can. It's gonna show up when they come back if your technique is done properly, and you pick the right, you have the right pigment choice. Your technique matters. It matters so much. The client up here developed temporary hypopigmentation. Melanin-rich skin could easily become scarred, hyperpigmented, and it can, you could cause a lot of trauma to the skin. So it's very important to apply the correct techniques on top of skin, especially if they're mature and the skin is melanin rich and is on the higher Fitzpatrick scale. The skin can become hypopigmented, which is a loss of color. I don't think people talk about this enough because it does happen on the brows too, not just the lips, not just on the arms when you do tattoos. It's happened to me a few times. If the client is prone to temporary hypopigmentation, it's kind of inevitable. So I started asking clients what happens when you get a sore. If they get a sore and it turns white around it, they're probably prone to hypopigmentation. And I will tell you that this scared the crap out of me. I'm a type of person, I have to find out the why. I have to know why that happened. So she actually went to her dermatologist, and that's where, I'm not a doctor, they told her that it was temporary hypopigmentation because she was scared too. This can be avoided by changing up your needle. If high amounts of pigment is deposited in the skin, it could become overworked and the brows can become what I was talking about. Like, it's not even necessarily ashy. It's really hard to explain. They're just really, really muted or a little too neutral, or it just looks like kind of weird to me after after I now get like all my brows to be brown, like when they heal over time. But not at first. It took me a while. Melanin skin can have more severe inflammatory reaction, which is post-inflammatory pigmentation, which results in the skin discoloration, which is hypopigmentation. For this client, this was the first procedure that we did. To you, does her skin look like bad or terrible? No, not at all. I will tell you though, it gave me a hard time. I was using a 1RL, the typical 1RL. I was using a 1RL and a 3RL, 0.25. A 1RL, I think 0.30, and a 3RL 0.25. It was giving me a hard time, and I did not go with my gut. My gut told me, get your butt up, go get you a shader or a mag, because I bet you like something's gonna happen. Like either she's gonna get, I've even had people get like these little bumps like around the eyebrow. And you always, as an artist, think you did something wrong. But the skin is very complex. So it's not always you. It's you knowing what to do when you're having a hard time. You don't want to be fighting the skin because it's going to fight you back. It's either going to fight you back in healing or it's going to fight you back at the time. So anyways, that's what it looked like. So she was kind of scabbing up. That was probably like 7 to 10 days. And at first I was like, oh, you're just going through the ghosting stage. But really, truly, I've never seen it that white before, like white, pinkish. And so I told her, I said, you know what? I apologize. I even tried to give her money back because I was like, I don't know what to do. So she was like, no, I want it to heal and I want you to try again because I've seen your work. And I said, okay. Like, okay. I might be shaking, but I'll try. Funny story, I actually called up one of my colleagues that was doing brows it was right when it happened, before I even told her to go to the doctor. I called up one of my colleagues that has been doing brows for over 20 years. And I said, hey, I showed her the picture. And I said, hey, have you ever seen this before? Has that ever happened to you? She said, yeah, girl, that happened to me a couple times. I stopped working on Fitzpatrick 6 clients and I gave them their money back. Not very helpful, but you know, it's scary. So we went in the second time with a 7 MAC. I was done in 35 minutes, which now brows do take me because I use a lot of mags, a lot of shaders. With mapping, brows taking me. Who was at my demo? Anybody here was at my demo? How long did it take me to do the brows? About 35 minutes. And I was with talking. I was talking, teaching, answering questions, all of that. We were done. That's more money for you. And I will tell you that when they come back touched up, when I do my touch-ups, I'm not doing touch-ups 6 to 8 week touch-ups. And I know you're thinking like, oh, that you're losing money, but I'm causing them less trauma to the skin. They're not coming back. They're not being inconvenienced. And what do? They go tell their friends. So what I did was I heightened my prices. Because now I'm not doing the 6 to 8 week touch-up. I just threw it in the first price. So that way I'm still getting my money. but I'm doing service to my community because I'm not sitting there causing unnecessary trauma. So there they are, healed. One time, I never saw her again. She sent me that picture. I guess she had her hairdresser take the picture, and she is a happy camper. Best techniques for melanin-rich skin. In my opinion, it's always going to be powder brows. I know nano is super, 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 super trendy right now, but I just think it's safe. And it's very buildable, so you can go light, you could go dark, you could go really bold if you want to. There's just so many different things that you could do with powder brows. You can also do combination brows like I did with her. So we were doing the frontier of her brows. Microbladed is not always recommended, but I do want you guys to know that that is a myth. Microblading can be done on melanin-rich skin. Any technique, I don't care what technique it is. If the artist doesn't know what they're doing, you can mess it up. I've seen messed up powder brows, I've seen messed up nano brows, and I've also seen messed up microblading. I do see messed up microblading the most, but I also know a lot of bomb microblading artists, and that's all they do, and they make a ton of money. Yes, they could look just as beautiful. So for her, I did the fronts. She had a lot of scar tissue on, let me see, you guys' right brow, right? Yeah, that's the right brow. So if you could look at the before pic, you could actually see the scar. You know how people open up to you, so they start telling all their business. She actually got into a fight and got hit with a bottle over her head or whatever, drinking stuff. But anyways, we went on and went over the scar. I told her, maybe that part might need to be touched up, but we ended up not touching her up. I used a 7-curve mag and a 3RL needle. And look at her healed brows. Do you notice anything about those brows just in particular, I have mastered a few things. Her brows are very brown. They're extremely brown. She is light skinned, and it's a little bit easier on a Fitzpatrick like 4, but I never used to get brows that brown like that. I just learned to mix my colors properly. Using certain CI numbers, knowing your CI numbers. I don't have enough time up here, but you guys can ask me anything afterwards. Okay, so you guys have mags. So I would keep talking about a mag. You guys have a mag, I think, on your tray. If you have a machine and paper, you could actually practice along. This is just the way that I work. I usually don't show it on Instagram or anything like that because I don't work like any other artist. And sometimes you can be ostracized for it. The way I work is actually it's not in a pendulum motion. It's not in a whipping motion. It's not a circular motion. I actually kind of use it as remember when you were a little kid and if you're looking and you could follow along with what I'm saying. When you were a little kid and you used to color in the coloring book, and you were just kind of so how I used to color, I would make the outline of the thing, and then because you want it to look pretty, and then you just kind of color with your crayon nice and lightly inside. That's what I do with my mag. And I accidentally did this one day on a practice pad. I said, oh wow, that deposits a lot of ink, not too much ink, and it looks really, really pretty still. So this is what I do with every single person. When I did my demo, a couple of the girls was like, I've never seen anybody shade like that. And I will tell you, just because someone tells you that something can't be done does not mean it's true. You have to get your own rhythm and your own groove and do what works for you at the end of the day. Actually, I have a little bit of time. I can actually show a few of you. So the way I do it, And I also I can make the outline too, and I use the tip of it because a mag, you guys just went through like the needle knowledge, which was really cool because she did like some of my work for me. But a mag goes like this, and it goes on top of each other, and like a 7 curve mag would have 3, and then it would have 4. And then the part where there's like the edge of it, you can actually use it to outline. So to make it easy, what I usually do is I use 2 needles, literally like you're painting a wall, just like little fast motions. And I'm telling you, in one pass, you're almost done. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Okay. It's like a little nice little, I mean, I'm telling you, it's just like you're coloring a book. It's so simple too.
No pinky?
No pinky. I work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, one more person, one more person. Okay. Get somebody over here. Okay. Turn on your machine, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do it with ink. Oh, gotcha. Does somebody have some ink so we can see? She's trying. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's okay. That's all right. That's what a practice pad is for.
Exactly.
You can mess it up all you want.
On a person, okay?
That's okay. So I'm the same way, and that's what's important. So, actually, your needle's a little too long.
Sorry, I didn't.
So, woo, that's out there, girl.
I didn't pay attention to that.
So usually I'm at like about a 2.5, 2, especially with a mag. If I see like maybe, you know, it snags on the skin or something, then I'll just go ahead and lower the needle. You just gotta pay attention to what's going on. There you go. And that's it. So pretty. And then if you want to detail it, then take your 1RL and stipple it for the picture. So go like this. Sometimes in the middle of the brow where it's kind of big, I'll flip it and just kind of color it, just like coloring a book. And you see my hand, it's pushing with the middle finger, but it's still tight and just moving very short strokes. No pinky needed. So usually I do about 3 passes. If somebody wants a really soft brow, 2 passes. So for aftercare, I go by the skin type as well. I'm just a skin girl, I'm sorry. If the skin is oily, it produces its own oil. Why are we gonna keep putting oil back onto the brow? All I use is aloe vera gel. I've tried to buy 100% aloe vera gel. I usually buy this brand right here. It's 99%, but it works good. I put them in the little tubes there, give it to them with, you know, some swabs, something cute in the bag, and we're good to go. For normal to combination skin, I use my own skin. I actually home make it. It's a blend of shea butter, grapeseed oil, chamomile, lavender, and arnica. And the clients freaking love it. They even put it on Google. Like, I love it. They start using it for the bottom of their feet, their lips. It's so soothing and healing. And to me, it helps a lot with the cracking of like the brows, whether it's microblading, nano, or powder brows. You can actually buy the aftercare on my site. I avoid petroleum-based products because it inhibits the skin from breathing. And that's the last thing you want to do is inhibit the skin from breathing. I usually tell the client just to rinse or with warm water. I actually started using cold water because it closes up the pores, and it's actually been speeding up the process a little bit. Okay, so we're coming to the conclusion, the last slide. Imagery inclusivity leads to a broader clientele. It showcases your expertise in diversity. It shows that you can work on different skin tones and you are an expert and you have experience in all cultural backgrounds. It broadens your clientele reach. You appeal to a wider audience. Enhanced marketability. This makes you look like you are the best artists in the whole wide world. And if I don't see myself on somebody's page, I'm gonna keep on scrolling. Period. So it just makes you more valuable, and it leads to more potential customers that value inclusivity just like me. And that's it. Thank you. I'm so nervous. Follow me on IG. Everything I do is reciprocal. I will follow you back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys.
Let's hear it from Toby